In this video, I'm going to share my personal story and experience of when I started investing in real estate while I was still active duty stationed in San Diego. I'm going to give you everything that went well. I'm also going to tell you all the things that did not go well, what I learned, what I wished I did different, and everything in between. Let's go. What's up, everybody? My name is Cameron Hodge. On this channel, I talk about everything you need to know about PCSing to and from San Diego, California. But also, for this specific one, I'm sharing my personal experience of how I got started investing in real estate while I was active duty in the military. So even if you're not getting stationed in San Diego, this still applies to you for this video. But I also drop videos every single week on topics just like this. So make sure you hit that little bell icon and subscribe to be notified every time I drop a new video. But as a fellow veteran, I'm also a licensed real estate agent, specifically helping veterans like yourself get invested in real estate, especially when I can talk. So some are popping up below is how you can get a hold of me. I don't care if it's in San Diego or anywhere else around the world. I can help you get started in this, sharing my own personal experience and stories and connections. So call, text, email, or even schedule a Zoom call down below. And I'm happy to have that conversation to help you get started investing in real estate. And it's not always about buying a home. Sometimes it's just about doing things that are tied to someone else buying a home. So let's get into it. So before I get to the story of how I purchased my first rental property, it needs to start in the beginning. Where did I even get the drive to purchase my first rental property, and how that kind of got me to where I am today? So I think for many of you, and like myself, I got interested in real estate before I even knew what real estate could do for me, if that makes sense. I've always had a drive to do something, hence that's why I joined the military, because I had a drive to do something, to do more with my life and just be a freaking nobody in my small town, right? Way bigger aspirations to go out and go in the world. Didn't know what to do. Military was the first ticket out of town and to start taking me on that process. It all began, I remember I was stationed in San Diego, Miramar at the time. And so I was in WTI in Yuma, for those of you that know where that is, middle of nowhere in Arizona. And one of the buddies that I was working with at the time gave me a book. It's like, hey, you should read this book. I'm like, yeah, sure, absolutely. Huff, if you're watching this, brother, I still appreciate you to this day. And it was Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Very cliche book. If you don't know what it is, I highly suggest you read it. And if you don't know where to get it, hey, reach out to me because I will gladly send you a copy. But like Rich Dad, Poor Dad was a book that it's a basic story of, a man and Robert Kiyosaki, and he had his rich dad and he had his poor dad. And it's mainly a book on mindset and how people can choose different ways to go in life and how it can drastically change the financial outcome, right? And after reading that book, I was fired up. I'm like, oh my God, I didn't even, what is this real estate thing? I mean, I never really thought about it. I just assumed my parents bought a house, American dream, they live in the house. Didn't think anything about this topic, what it could mean, where it could take me. And all I knew is that I had a fire because I've always had a drive to do something. I mean, I remember I used to be the kid where I was mowing lawns and getting paid. Me and my buddies used to collect all these bunch of items and flip stuff at the flea market on Sundays and Saturdays, right? We'd all get remember when you used to be able to, those burritos at McDonald's used to be 50 cents. You just get a giant box of those burritos. We'd go to the flea market at 5, 6 a.m. and we would just sit there all day, just hassling, negotiating, trying to get our stuff sold. And great memories that I remember. And after reading that book, I was like, wow. I'm like, I feel like I have a way to channel this, right? I didn't even care I was active duty, working 14 hours a day. Didn't care, right? I'd already been on one deployment at this point. I had some money saved up. I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to figure it out. Well, leads me to, I was dating my wife at the time, got married, went on my second deployment after that. And things kind of died off for a little bit. Until I get on deployment, you obviously, I was only sent over to Japan, just in UDP, nothing crazy. Had some extra time on my hands, like many of us do on deployment. And thankfully, obviously, I had internet access where I was, started researching, came across Bigger Pockets, started just diving deep into this concept. I'm like, okay, I need to get my first rental property. What the heck does that mean? And knowing at the time as well how my wife was the one, we kind of had this brief conversation. And I was talking about, yeah, we will have to get my first rental property. I don't know. I don't know if I can do it or if I have the money or whatever. And she's like, Well, if you want to do it, why don't you go do it? I don't understand what's holding you back. And I felt like an idiot, but she was right. Like, what was holding me back? Like, why didn't I take this drive and go do it? So, hey, with her as my rock, we went and we kind of figured it out. Personally, I was looking at San Diego, and I'm like, well, I know we could buy our own home. You know, I was only a corporal at the time. And I'm like, well, we could buy our own home. It'd probably only be a condo. I don't know if that's what I want my first round property to be, because I want to make a cash flow. I want to make money. You know, now looking back now, I feel stupid. But we'll get to that at the end of the video. I'll kind of dive into what I wish I did differently. I don't regret anything that happened because it got me to where I am today, though. So, you know, I was like, well, I don't know. San Diego's expensive. I don't know. Trying to figure it out. I'm running numbers on properties. I'm practicing how to actually underwrite a property. Like, can I make money on this? No, this and that. And then, learning what San Diego has to offer. And then, as I seem to always get pulled, like, hey, you're going to Yuma. And I'm like, Yuma? Oh my God, come on. Like, again? It's like my third time going to Yuma at this point for WTI, and I got pulled. And I didn't know what to do. So, but my wife, while I was at work one day, I come home, she's like, hey, I think we should buy something there. And I'm like, out of state? I'm like, I don't know. I've had this mindset in my head that I had to buy something locally, right? I'm like, we didn't even bought our first house yet. I've never even owned real estate in my life. Neither of us have. And now we're talking about our first property is going to be a rental out of state. Like, it's crazy. Like, why are we renting? We should be doing this. And we were like, all right, so obviously Yuma's within distance during normal working days to go view it. We loaded up my 1-year-old son and we drove out to Yuma after work on Friday. Or no, I'm sorry, that on a Saturday. Like early morning, loaded him up, drove out to Yuma. This is before I had to go WTI. And we met up with some agents. We ended up finding one, Monty, to this day, brother. I mean, this guy was living out of a truck, became a real estate agent. Like, great story. I love him to death. Brand new. We gave him a shot, figured it out, found out that I'm like, okay, we can afford a home here. What can we afford? So looking at houses, start looking at whatever. After working with my wife, we chose to do a short-term rental as our first rental property. I wasn't too keen on it, but I'm like, okay, you're right. I'm like, normal rentals don't quite make sense yet in Yuma because the rents are just so low at the time. But I'm like, Airbnb looks profitable. I kind of did the numbers. Airbnb was still really new, so I didn't have the tools that I have today. I was like, okay, I kind of did some numbers. I'm like, okay, I think this can work. Shopped around. Eventually found a model home that was discounted in price based on the local market. Went in there. I'm like, this is it. And we got a 1-year builder's warranty. For those of you that don't know, builder's warranty means they pretty much fix anything that goes wrong with the property for 1 year. And I was like, sold. Bought the property, go to do all the numbers, and we're like, crap. I'm like, I don't have a full 20% down for this. We're not living there, so I can't do anything with it. I'm like, crap. Knowing what I know now, God, I could have done it with 10% down as a second home. But whatever. We wanted to put the full 20 down because that's what I had in my mind that I wanted to make the numbers more in our favor, make a lower mortgage payment, which I learned now I didn't have to do. But we only had like 17% down. So what do? I start asking family and friends. Thanks to her mom and things like that, raised some money. We had 19%, not quite 20. So we had to do PMI on the property. Again, could have done better there. Could have avoided the PMI, the mortgage insurance, but whatever. It was only for a year. It will be okay. So, boom, got the property. Now what? Now what do I do, right? This is summer of 2017. I'm like, oh my God, I got to leave for WTI in like 3 weeks. What the heck are we going to do? Well, we get back to San Diego. Property's ours. Woo! All right. What the heck do we do with this thing now? Our mortgage payments start in a month. What the heck are we going to do? Well, we kind of figured it out, and we're like, okay, so we can afford the rent and that for now. What do we do? I'm like, okay. So if it's an Airbnb, it's completely vacant. We got to furnish this thing. We're going on military resale sites. I'm talking like we're scouring for cheap furniture that kind of fits a design. By the way, my wife is doing all this. So like I'm working like crazy, getting ready to go to WTI in Yuma, and she is figuring it out. She's finding this furniture. And she's just like, hey, on your way home, stop by here, pick up this couch, pick up this futon. All right, we're going to do this, buy that. We figured it out. And now we have all this furniture under a tarp accumulating in the back of her mom's house, right? And all right, we got all this furniture. And now how are we going to get it there? I don't have time, right? Well, thankfully, to some of her cousins, we were able to figure things out. Well, I had to go before to Yuma, right? And obviously, those of you who go to WTI, you know you're not supposed to drive when you get there. So now, boom, they throw me in a barracks. I'm there. I'm all day checking in, going through all the crap. I'm there early. The main body is not there yet of all the, everyone coming from WTI. I'm there early for like 2 weeks, which is to my benefit. And by the way, I'm doing this. She's coordinating everything, loading up the U-Haul and driving it out here with our 1-year-old son. Without her, this would never have happened. Get all the furniture here. And she picks me up on base. We drive out there with all my buddies. I paid him pizza and food, and we unloaded all the furniture into the garage of this place. Mind you, the paint wasn't fully finished on this property. There was no garage door opener on the door. There definitely needed some maintenance to be Airbnb ready, right? And, oh God. So we unload it. Yay. And then throughout that course of WTI, the several months, I'm working 13 hours a day. She's picking me up. She's dropping me off from work. She's taking care of the 1-year-old. I'm when I should be sleeping, I'm repairing the property. I ended up working nights. So during the day, I'm fixing the property. We're going to Home Depot, painting, refinished all the cabinets. I installed the garage door opener. It was, I still can't believe it was, looking back, I'm like, this is exhausting, right? Definitely should have paid someone to do some of the work, but hey, it was a good learning experience, and we just figured it out during that several month period. At the end of it, took some cheap photos because Airbnb wasn't as crazy as it was now. There weren't much competition in town, so we were able to do that and get away with it. She set it up on Airbnb. We got it done. Back in San Diego, start getting rentals. And after a couple months of build up, we start getting good reviews, 5-star reviews. We're like, holy cow, making like $500 a month average profit on this place after the mortgage and everything. By the way, I forgot to mention, we furnished this whole 3-bed townhome for under $1,000, right? Like a whole place, silverware, everything. So when people say they can't get started, look, it takes money to get started and buy a property, right? I'll get more if you don't have money, I'll get into a little bit here how you can do that and what I've learned. But we made it work. Less than $1,000. Like even my servicemen and women, when you buy just a regular house here in San Diego, I tell them, trust me, you can get that thing furnished for nothing. When people are PCSing to and from this area, you go on these military resale sites. Oh my God. On top of the free stuff that we get, I mean, washer and dryers heavily discounted. I'm telling you, like the opportunity is there and you can get it. And we furnished this place for almost nothing. And it's crazy because a lot of people were like, wait, the first piece of real estate you ever bought wasn't even where you lived? I'm like, nope, because San Diego pissed me off. Now, we ended up shortly after that. Obviously, when you have a rental with the right lender, you can actually write off that mortgage. So until you have 2 years of landlord experience, and Airbnb does not count, mind you, I learned that the hard way. When you have a regular rental with a tenant and a lease, after 2 years of showing that lease on your tax returns, you are now a landlord, and you can use the income from that property to help you afford it. There are a little bit more numbers to go into that to use your VA loan and stuff like that. But, we found a lender that would take our Airbnb income, and they wrote off the expense, thankfully. So we were able to buy our single family home. I did end up converting it from Airbnb to a normal rental with a lease to do that. That's why I was like, crap. I'm like, okay, well, I know we're making good money on this Airbnb, but I want to be able to write this thing off. I want to buy more real estate, and this is just annoying. Personally, Airbnb, it makes really good money for a lot of people. I don't like the hassle. I'm very numbers based. I don't like having to deal with like, hey, you didn't have a rocking chair. Yeah, no kidding. Like real complaints that I would get, right? Too much for me. But because I went through all this pain and process, I really got to figure out what I will and will not do. We even flipped a condo in San Diego for a small profit. We had a single family home that ended up not doing well, believe it or not. But look, long experience and like getting the first property. And when we ended up selling that after 3.5 years, we walked away with $50,000 net. Unfortunately, came to hardship when I got out of the military, and a lot of it paid off debt. But like that's what real estate can do for you, and that's what it did for me in the beginning with that first property. And since then, I actually haven't bought any more properties. And I'll tell you why. Real estate is something I want to get back into. I want to buy more. And like I said, we've had a couple properties after that first one. Obviously, when COVID happened and the rising prices and all that, I made a shift to focus on industries that support the purchasing of real estate. So after I got out, I did mobile notary business. People would sell, buy and sell homes. You have to meet a notary. I was that guy that would meet with you. And then eventually I was handing off jobs, things like that for a couple of years. And then transitioned to being a real estate agent. Do you need to be a real estate agent to invest in real estate? Absolutely not. No. In fact, you're probably going to hurt you in the short term unless you really want to get involved in being an agent. Is it cool you get MLS access? Absolutely. But it's not something you have to get involved with. Just even partnering with an agent can save you a lifetime if they know what they're doing. But what I wish I did for different looking back over that time, I don't wish I changed anything because it got me to where I am today. But I wish I knew, even when I was single before being married, that even if you don't have the money to buy real estate, there are ways to make money from real estate. If you're willing, even if you're active duty, I'm telling you, like if you're really have a drive to get involved in real estate, you want to make this work, you can wholesale, meaning you're cold calling, you're finding out people who want to sell their home, but maybe they have problems. Like it clearly could be bought for a cheap enough price. You could literally take that property, right? Let's say you find seller. Seller's like, hey, this place is destroyed. And he's like, well, what do you want for it? And you kind of have an idea. You're like, okay, well, I probably could pay you like in San Diego, right? Like I could probably give you $300,000 for this house. Okay, great. You take that and then you go to a buyer. You find out an investor. It's like, hey, investor, have this property. I'll sell it to you for $350,000. It's probably a little crazy. Let's say $320,000. It's like they look at it. They're like, perfect. That fits my criteria. Let's do it. Seller agrees to let you assign the contract, meaning, hey, I was going to buy it. Now I'm giving the contract to this buyer, and you two are going to work together. If that works out, they buy the property. That difference in purchase price, that $20,000, that's for you. That's for you to keep, right? That's what wholesaling can do. It's not easy. It's not simple. I wish I knew this stuff when I was still active duty, because I don't know if I would have bought that first property. I think I would have figured out how to get my business and that extra income that could pay for that, right? But hey, there are ways to get, like I made it work. And you can too. You can raise money from friends, family. Hey, there are 1,000 ways to get involved in real estate with no and low money down. You can always reach out to me. I'm happy to have that conversation with you. But wholesaling, I have agents. Now I know a lot of service members that are active duty. Heck, one of my business partners, active duty, does 25 transactions a year while he's active duty Navy. Like, come on. Like, I wish I could have known that I could have gotten involved in real estate before getting out, and I could have already had that business built. And even as an agent, as a real estate agent, you don't even have to actively show homes and sell homes, right? You can just refer them out. Like, all of a sudden you get this magical license, and like now you get this ability. Let's say even if they don't live anywhere around the country, they're like Norfolk or San Diego or Whidbey Island, Pensacola, it doesn't matter where. And they're like, hey, I'm going to buy this home. It's like, fantastic. Do you need help finding an agent? I do need help finding an agent. Congrats. You find the agent, say, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Agent, I have a buyer ready to go. They're qualified. Here you go. If you sign this contract, give me 25 to 35% of your commission. And all you did was make a connection. That's the opportunities that are in real estate. And that's kind of what I wish I knew. I'm so happy I got to experience my rental because it allows me to not only kind of create a better life moving forward, right? But now it gets to help me with other men and women like yourself, like veterans, active duty military, create a better financial ability, stability, to where if they lose their job, something happens, they get kicked out of the military. I don't care what it is. Like, you get to be reliant on yourself. And that's what being real estate is to me. And that's what this journey has gotten to me. And a lot of people ask, like, Cameron, could you have bought more real estate after you sold your last piece of real estate in 2021? I could have bought more. I made a conscious decision and I realized, I'm like, what I'm doing, I want to build a business. Because business, if you just love running businesses, guess what? They pay you more short-term cash sooner than like buying real estate. You could buy real estate, but it's a long-term pay. Like, you're not going to make tons of money up front like every single month. The reality is like it takes money to make money. But if you started a business, you'd be a lot better off, and you can make money potentially even sooner, which is what I think most of us need. So we need that short-term cash to kind of get everything off the ground. So that's like a summary, of what I wish I did differently. Is I really wish I would have known that all these other things that exist to kind of give you the money to invest in more real estate. And could I have bought more property since then? Yeah, absolutely. I just chose to put it in my business and expand because I realized, I'm like, wow, I'm building more money every single month, but to crest 6 figures, I'm like, why would I do that when I can keep building a business that I can even sell down the road and things like that? It's just another form of investing, right? It just tends to, it can pay more in a short-term basis sooner, okay? But I still love real estate. I intend to buy a lot more properties. I've expanded into Florida now heavily, and I cannot wait for the opportunities that brings. But that all started from that one house. Everything I know now started from that one property. And if you find yourself scared, you don't know what to get started, like there's 1,000 ways to skin this cat. You just have to pick one. You have to learn everything you can and then do it. Just you're going to fall for it. That's okay. Just keep falling, keep falling, keep falling. And you'll eventually get to where you need to be. So overall, that was my first experience of buying, how I invested in real estate, what I wish I did differently when I was in the active duty, and how that just translated into everything I'm doing now. I mean, I couldn't imagine what I know now. And I feel like enlightened. Like I feel if something was to disappear, I know I could go out there and make money. And getting started in real estate, you not only get the benefit of real estate, you get to open up the world to where you just meet people that are going to better your life. And if you're in the military, veteran, doesn't matter. If you're looking to invest in real estate, I don't care. Obviously, I'm local to San Diego, but I also have a team in Florida. Like, it doesn't matter where you are. Like, I have made connections. I can help you, point you in the right direction. Heck, we can even just talk about what you're trying to do, and I can give you my insight. Like, it's not cost anything. It's free. It's just free information because I've been there. I've done it. And you know what's selfish about it? It's selfish because I love doing it. And that's the only thing with it. So if you are curious, this number popping up below is how you can get a hold of me. Call, text, email, schedule a Zoom call. It does not matter. I'm here to help you get started in real estate. I've been there. I've done it. It's not as scary as it seems. It's only scary because you don't know. So hope you got value in this video. I hope it gave you some insight. Look forward to seeing you in the next one.